The Police and Prisons Civil Rights Union, that's Popcru, has rejected the current 3% wage offer by the employer at the Public Service Co-ordinating Bargaining Council. The union is now threatening a march to the union buildings later this month to make their demands heard. For more on this, we can speak to Richard Mamabolo, the Popcru spokesperson. Richard, welcome back to Daytime Update. Why is a 3% baseline increase not enough for you?
Thank you, Tembegile. Look, the current inflation rate is currently standing at 7.8%, and we feel that any agreement should obviously ensure that it covers, any increase should be above the inflation rate on the baseline, which will increase the notches and pensionable increase. So what is being offered currently is something that will not in the long run benefit workers because it's an unpensionable offer, and of course that means that there won't be any contribution by the employer to the pensionable aspect of the workers. So that's our main worry. And of course, I think this is not the only reason why we are actually having we're having a march on the 20th. There are many other reasons, of course, because we've been engaging with different departments around the different challenges that we have within different sectors within the criminal justice clusters. You would be aware that from 2020, workers have not received an increase, and the employer's 3% increase on the baseline does not cover the percentage increases. So there's no way in which...
Richard, are you still there? I'm going to try one more time. Richard Mamabolo, if you're able to hear me, just confirm, are you still there?
I can hear you, yes.
Fantastic. We lost you for a moment, but you are now saying 3% is not enough, but the employer, government, has repeatedly said that it's time for the tightening of belts. There's not enough money to go around for all the needs in the country at the moment. Where do you think they'll get more money to fund an increase of more than 3%?
Look, if you consider the fact that there's been a lot of money looted out of the country, there continues to be illicit financial outflows, and of course, even after the Zondo Commission has actually finalized its report, you realize that a lot of money has been out of the country and it has not been recouped. So we feel that it cannot be that the workers are made scapegoats and have to suffer for all these challenges, That is what we obviously concerned about. But first, the employer is offering a non-pensionable gratuity, which of course might mislead members because they will be thinking that they are getting something on the table immediately. But in real terms, it therefore works against their pensions. And on the agreement that has been presented, there's a clause 3.2, which of course is another form of intention to retrench workers and the already overworked and understaffed public service, because it gives government a loophole in actually agreeing to certain things, but as well as saying that considering that there are funds available. So it means that if we enter into this agreement, we accept that government might say that we will increase your salaries or your pensionable funds at this level, but we can withdraw at any given point. So we cannot endorse such things after members have not been getting salary increases over the past 2 years. Our members are actually struggling. They cannot afford to get RDP houses. They cannot afford to get bonded houses. And all this is happening while government has been refusing to implement the government employee housing scheme, wherein pensions of workers are supposed to be assisting them to live in the now, as opposed to getting these funds, which they'll get at old age and when their lives are close to an end. So some of these pensions should be assisting the conditions of our members currently.
You've got several things that you want addressed ultimately. What is your compromise position? If not your initial demand, where would you be willing to settle?
I mean, we've been compromising for the past 2 years, and not out of our own volition, by the way. But of course, we had looked at the conditions which the country found itself in. I think everybody, including ourselves, as members within the criminal justice cluster, have got an interest in ensuring that South Africa becomes a better country and the economic development. However, like I said before, due to the fact that there's been a lot of looting and there has not been accountability over the years, it's something that workers cannot accept. If, for example, are getting an increase of 3%, which has been approved, why can't workers get their increases as well? Because they're the ones who have been in the front line during the COVID pandemic. They're the ones who have been doing work all the time, while the courts and all the other public office bearers have not been exposed to any challenges. In fact, some of these institutions were closed or working or operating on Zoom profiles. So they're getting an increase, and workers are supposed to get a limited increase. 3% does not cover the real cost of living, wherein you've got an inflation rate of 7.8%, which is the highest, by the way, over the past 15 years. So there's an unfair treatment of public service, and the aim is really to reduce the public service, and it's not going to assist because the more this is happening, it therefore means that workers will obviously have a higher burden. We've got currently challenges around the high cost of living. Petrol prices have increased, transport has increased, everything has increased, and yet the salaries of public servants remain stagnant. So the more this continues, it means that a lot of our members, of course, are as well providing for their families. It means that a lot of people are affected by these decisions that are taken by government.
You said that a draft agreement is currently being circulated for a majority of signatures, right? So that would allow the employer to implement the agreement. So if that were to happen now, where would it leave you as Popcru?
Look, we will still continue to reject this offer. We know that government has been coercing some unions to actually sign this agreement, the very agreement that we are rejecting. So whether it's signed or not by a majority, the fact of the matter is that we reject it. Of course, I mean, when agreements are signed, they will obviously bind us on the basis of majority rule. But we need to be clear with our members that we reject this offer. So one of the reasons why we will be marching to the union buildings on the 20th to submit a memorandum of demands to the real commander-in-chief, who happens to be the president, are over the many issues that departments have failed to address, because we've been engaging countless times with different departments in addressing some of the challenges that our members face, and yet most of them have not been addressed. So the best way is to address them with the person who's actually the commander-in-chief. But as well, one of the problems we have, you remember that in the past 2 years, the SAPS budget was cut by around 11, I think for this year it was cut by 11.5 billion, and in the next year it's going to be cut by around 15 billion rands. That's the SAPS budget alone. And this happens at a time just after the president had committed that we need to have violent crimes within the country within the next decade. Immediately after that, Treasury takes a decision to cut the budget, meaning that they are a super ministry. In fact, they are above the president. And with the staff complement of the SAPS being reduced on a regular basis, it was standing at 191,000 from 4 years ago, currently standing at 165,000. Has to look after a population of 60 million people. These people are frustrated on a daily basis. You go to any police station, police vehicles are stuck there, they have not been serviced, and yet people or communities feel that police are lazy. Well, they do not understand that they do not have capacity. So these measures that government has been taking of reducing budgets as well have affected service delivery. And therefore, it's not necessarily the problem of police being lazy, but it's the problem of government not ensuring that there's even addressing the challenge of the uneven allocation of resources.
So, if the other unions sign, and we're not there yet, I'm wondering if at this point as unions, as Labour, you are all standing as one or working in silos, each one trying to basically please their membership?
Ideally, we've got what we call a joint mandating committee within COSATU ranks, wherein unions within the public service would obviously look into working together in terms of taking common decisions. And I think that has been the strength, really. So we would expect that even in the current case, this joint mandating committee would come to an agreement that this is our position. Hopefully they would obviously follow suit. But of course, you know, every union is independent from each other. This joint mandating committee has obviously over the years given unions the strength to take decisions wherein a majority of unions would take a position, and that position would be the main position, because in the public service, majority of unions that are there are within COSATU. So we're hopeful that we will return to that culture wherein we closely work together, and whatever decision that we take at that level are implemented.
Richard Mamabolo, thank you for your time today, sir.